Were you ever just watching TV, completely unrelated to The Sims, chilling out with some takeout pizza or Chinese, your pet and or your partner or friends nearby, the vibes unbeatable and immaculate? But all of a sudden, you hear the song of your people. You rise from your seat and wonder where that beautiful sound is coming from. Why, it's only coming from the TV you're watching. But how can it be? You've only heard this tune within the Sims game as you build your dream house for your perfect family. It can't be. Sims 3 build mode music in a random show? How did they ever get away with it? How did they get the rights? Well, let's find out. Hello everyone, and welcome to the Sims Lore. Today we'll be investigating how and why we hear Sims music outside of the game. How could the composer sell his songs if it was made exclusively for EA? Or was it EA that sold them? If you're interested in following me along in the journey, let's dive right in. Before we do, make sure you get your snacks ready, let me know what you're having in that snack report, and don't forget to subscribe and like this if you enjoyed it. Alright, let's get straight into the video. There is no denying the music affected our gameplay as we navigated from Create a Sim to Build and Buy mode. Even the radio station was a fantastic way to change up our moods. The relaxing ambience I would feel whilst creating my perfect sim and their dream home was nothing like I've ever experienced before in a game. Like composer Jerry Martin said in regard to the Sims music he wrote, you're sitting there and you're just kind of building and you're fiddling around with your house. That can just go on and on for hours. It's not like a big build up to something. And that is absolutely right. To some extent. I know when I was growing up, I would sometimes sit there as the game loaded and just completely zone out to one of the songs playing. You would just be able to lose yourself in thought, and I think it gave us all a chance to reflect. So there's no denying that Sims music is the perfect background music for when you don't want the full focus to be taken away. But who gave the okay to start using it in other pieces of popular media? Let's take a closer look at that. Personally, I've only heard some of the Sims 3 build buy mode tunes and nothing yet from either the Sims 1, 2 or 4. However, correct me if I'm wrong. So let's focus on the heard songs first. I remember hearing a build mode song from the Sims 3 in Your Home Made Perfect and also Your Garden Made Perfect. And I think this was a year or so ago, which by the way, thoroughly enjoyed both shows. I couldn't recommend them enough. I scoured the internet as well and found that some of you also heard Sims songs in the following shows. A show about magic on the History Channel, Dance Moms, The Apprentice UK, CSI New York, and The Great British Bake Off, just to name a few. Now, how come this is happening? Did the composer resell the songs? Or has EA bought complete rights and is trying to get a return on their investment? Either way, the rights to these songs were sold, there's no doubt about it. So let's have a look at who composed said songs. There are two main composers credited for The Sims 3, but of course EA has brought in a lot of different artists throughout the years. For the purposes of this video, we'll be focusing on the two main composers as the songs I found on TV are mainly theirs. You might or might have not heard of Steve Jablonsky, a film, TV and commercial composer. From his website, we find that he has composed the music for many of Hollywood's most successful films, such as Michael Bay's Transformers films, The Island, Friday the 13th, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, ABC series The Desperate Housewives, and the list keeps going. Here's the link to his website, and I'll also add it to the description so you can have more of a look if you're interested. Of course, amongst those film and TV series, Steve Jablonsky also has credits for The Sims 3 music. Funnily enough, you can even buy it on Amazon. It's linked on his website. So that means he has the rights, right? Let's find out more. On Wikipedia, it says that he's been working with Hans Zimmer since the beginning of his career and that he is currently employed in Zimmer's film score company, Remote Control Productions. Peter is a film and television composer who also began his career working in Hans Zimmer's studio. He worked for years alongside Steve Jablonsky on the same projects such as The Island, Desperate Housewives, and Friday the 13th. This makes me think that Remote Control Productions was hired by EA to make The Sims 3 music. So that's not a far-fetched idea, right? Perhaps Steve and Peter would have not been credited. Well, again, I scoured the internet for answers. Steve Jablonsky is on both Twitter and Instagram. He seems to not be affiliated with any production company that I can see, although seems to still be on good terms with Hans Zimmer. And I say this because in this article, which covers the lawsuit filed against Hans Zimmer by his old business partner, the company hired numerous resident composers in the 1990s to assist with Zimmer's scores and other composing projects. The composers split fees with Media Ventures and left once their own careers were established. Makes me think that since Steve started to score films in 1998, that this is exactly what happened. Now, he began working on The Sims 3 in 2009, time in which he was still employed by Media Ventures when it was owned by both Rifkin and Zimmer. So let's look at the possibilities here. First off, let's take a look at music copyright law. From this website, I found the following. In the United States, songwriters can license their musical works themselves, or more commonly, assign the rights in their works to publishers and license their public performance rights, including their share of such rights, to performing rights organizations. That is a mouthful and I didn't understand anything, but I can still link it down below, so maybe if you guys want, you can have a read of it because, yeah. Essentially, music copyright law can be very tricky to understand, but after some of the research, I think I can summarize it for you. What we're most interested in this particular instance are the recording and musical composition rights. Musical composition rights would be the notes, keys, motifs, and chord progressions, whereas the recording rights would be the actual recording used in the song. So essentially, if these networks, which are using the actual Sims songs composed by Steve in their garden or their home improvement show, they would have both musical composition and recording rights, which means they would have made a deal to purchase the rights to those songs. Usually artists are signed to a label. In this case, Steve was under contract by Media Ventures. At this stage, he wasn't quite out on his own. A label or production company who funded or helped produce the music usually keep the rights and just pay royalties or a percentage of the sales depending on the contract they signed. Companies that own music labels also own TV networks, so they usually take songs from those shared companies for cheap, which usually is bad for the artist if they only get a percentage of the sales as opposed to royalties. If the artist is independent, however, then it's very likely they get to hold onto their rights. So, two things here. First, if Steve was on his own, which we know he wasn't, he could have sold the rights and the song for a bigger paycheck, which would give EA full rights, meaning they could do whatever they wanted with the song. Second, if Steve was tied to a company, he more than likely had a contract where anything he composed would be sold completely, all rights, to the company he would be composing for. Meaning in both cases, EA had the rights and were then able to resell all songs. Many audio companies have departments across film, broadcast, music, and interactive media, which is gaming, so Remote Control Productions is no exception. And of course, as well, we all know EA is a huge money-hungry company with a lot of investors, so who would blame them if they made up a contract stipulating that all audio work created for them was to be owned by them exclusively, and they would just pay a large lump sum to all the sound effects teams and composers? But coming back to the Sims 3 songs that are available to purchase on Steve Jablonsky's artist Amazon, surely since it's on Steve's artist page, he has the rights, no? He must have held them in full. Well, I don't know. I think it's more complicated than that, and what might have happened here is that perhaps when someone buys them as an individual, the split is 50-50, or 30-60. But when it comes to resale and or distribution, that might be different. On the complete other side though, I found this approval request submission guideline on the actual EA website. You just pop them an email stating why, how, where, and when you want to use their material. Pretty neat. But I think this is for smaller TV networks or maybe even content creators, because I doubt that popular networks would be doing this, considering copyright is different to fair use. Don't I know it, YouTube? Fix your damn fair usage rules, I want to show Sims Music examples. But I believe what happened is that EA was out for cash again. They had the opportunity to use the music and they sold it for some fast cash for maybe future projects? Or to pay off the mafia? Who knows? Also, please do not sue me. This is solely for fun. I am poking fun at EA. I'm in no way speaking facts or trying to be malicious. Thank you. Okay, so what about the fact that several big networks used some of these songs? Well, all networks have a massive catalogue of music they own rights to. When EA sold rights, or maybe when Steve sold the rights, they probably sold across the board to several networks. Fast cash doesn't mean small amount of cash. And now for a touch of marketing genius that has nothing to do with copyright laws. Or does it? For real, whoever came up with this idea is a fantastic marketer. So if you're unfamiliar with what I'm talking about, let me explain. In 2004, to gain more publicity for the new release of the Urbz Sims in the City, EA Tracks developed a contract with the Black Eyed Peas, who had just recently shot to fame after their album Elefunk was released and they recruited Fergie. This meant that the Black Eyed Peas re-recorded the majority of the game's soundtrack, including Let's Get It Started and Shut Up. Following this, EA contracted a lot of other artists to re-record their songs in Simlish to be added to the game in the form of music on the radio. They even made Sims music videos and posted them on YouTube. Honestly, this was the peak of society. Artists such as Lily Allen, Katy Perry, Janelle Monáe, Natasha Bedingfield, Ali and AJ, the Pussycat Dolls, Hot Chip, and way more collaborated with EA to bring out songs in Simlish. Seriously, there's like pages and pages of artists. So how did copyright work here? Well, obviously they worked something out with the artists and their labels. I'm not sure about exact figures, but to be fair, it would have been a mutually beneficial contract since both the game and the artists would get more publicity. One artist in particular benefited the most, and of course we all know who that is. It's the one and only Miss Katy Perry. Miss Thing got a whole collector's edition expansion pack called Katy Perry's Sweet Treats. Let me know if you want a deep dive video on that whole publicity stunt. All in all, I think EA sold some of the Sims 3 songs to bring in more cash. Because, yeah, money. Someone somewhere thought, hey, these have a good tune. Why don't we sell them to networks so they can edit them in home improvement shows as upbeat background music? But to give some praise, bringing in celebrities was a top-tier marketing move on EA's behalf. And I thoroughly enjoy listening to Simlish songs if I'm honest. Let me know your thoughts and theories in the comments below. Are you a fan of Simlish songs? Do you know more about music copyright? Let me know in the comments below. Alright guys, there you have it, the curious case of Sims music in popular TV and media. I would like to thank my Sul channel members Jiggly and Krissy Pyne. Thank you both for your support. I would also like to thank my patrons Whitney Marion, Papa Khan, Negative Dana, Aurora Grimm, LeMay, ML, Alia Deshayas, Shelby Hill, Perlog Anwil, Kitajan the Arcane Archer, Nicole Dante, Artsy Flashback, Nathan Lim, Sabrina, Adele Isted, and Alice Wild. Thank you all so much for supporting my channel. That's it for today's video. Thank you all so much for watching. Please like the video if you enjoyed it and let me know your theories in the comments below. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram for more lore and updates. I'll see you in my next video. Bye!